Let's get into a little bit of what we heard from Masai Ujiri yesterday, because it was our first opportunity to hear from anybody with the Mavs relative to the hire of Dusty May and the hows and whys of all of that, because this did come down the day before the NBA draft. It was peculiar timing. It was interesting also, though, to see some artifacts on social media from people that at least claimed anyway, I know this guy that knows that guy that knows this guy, and he said that Dusty May's known about this for 4 weeks or whatever. It's like, okay, maybe. I don't know why you'd wait until now, until the day before the draft to announce this, or it even took them a little while after the reporting came down for them to officially make the announcement. But anyway, we do now at least know this is the situation, and we got to hear yesterday from Masai Ujiri on why they decided to hire Dusty May. This is SOT number 20.
Dusty stood out in many ways. I think I saw him in Chicago in the pre-draft camp and observed him, a little bit, talking to talents, to people, and it's a different ball game with NIL in college now and how you operate with youth. It's almost like a professional league, I should say, in college now. So many things, I think, translate in some kind of way. I look at the style of play, big players, how he sees the game. Then I look at the person, incredible person. He's worked everywhere. He's coached small teams, big teams. So we'll see. I understand that it's college coach and he's coming to the NBA game. I think that's sometimes is something we look at to see what the success has been. But I think there's been some success with some coaches. The game is changing fast.
I'm intrigued by this hire for a number of different reasons, but as much as we've talked about in the last couple of days, the fact that we haven't seen a lot of college coaches make the jump to NBA and have success, the fact that May's career path has been one, that he's been on such a rocket ship, that this has all materialized in a pretty short period of time, but the fact that he's done it in multiple different places from a collegiate perspective and shown the ability to have success at a Florida Atlantic of all places. And then to be able to be enough of a chameleon to go from FAU to one of the biggest athletic departments in all of college sports at Michigan and have success and turn that into a national champion, it leads me to believe that maybe he has the ability to go chameleon again and show that he's got the versatility to then coach in the professional game as well. It's a different ask. It's a different level of, I'm not sure exactly the word I'm looking for here, but you've got to be even more malleable. You've got to show that you've got even more ability to understand the game in a completely different sense, because the games are still different. They're not as different as they were 30 years ago, going back to our conversation on Monday, but they are still different. So there's going to probably be a learning curve, but the fact that he has shown that he's got the ability to be versatile at least gives you some encouragement in that regard.
Yeah, I thought Masai's point about how, the league's getting young, the game is getting younger, and the college is getting more
professional.
It's getting older, right, in terms of how it operates, right? It's very much like a minor league affiliate at this point with, NIL and transfer portal. It's glorified free agency every year. So it's he's had to navigate those waters and basically put out a new team every single year. That adaptability, being around kind of that climate and players that are now entering the NBA through that climate. It's they're either getting a coach who's been kind of on this upswing through NIL and transfer portal and had success through it, and he's going to carry that to the league, or he's going to get to the NBA, he's going to try to manage these, stars and egos and all the things that come with it, and it's going to fail. Because that's always what happens with these college guys.
Yeah.
They are, at their schools, they are the top dog. You think about the long line of legendary college coaches, and there's a bunch of them. They had such a mystique about them that guys wanted to come play for them.
Yeah.
It wanted to come play for that program. I want to go play for Coach K. I want to go play for
Calipari.
I want to go play for Roy Williams and Dean Smith, and the long list, Boeheim, whatever.
Yep.
That was the draw. And it's not that anymore at the college level. It's, I want to go where I can get the most money.
Yeah.
I can get the most brand deals, the most marketability. And so to coach in that environment, it's really hard to create sustained success, to create that type of program of a Duke or a UNC that we had from 20, 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Translating that to the NBA is still hard. It doesn't matter what kind of climate you're in. You are having to manage guys that are getting paid more money than you are, that you don't have to convince to fall in line with your program or you're gone. It's a different animal. The only reason I have any hope that this hire can work out for the Mavs is because he's had success everywhere he's gone, small school, big school, and he's had to do it with players. You look at that Michigan team, they didn't have the number 1 overall pick. They had 3 guys, because of the season they had under May, made their way into the mid-first round, which speaks to coaching.
Instead of top-end talent.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean...
So that is where I'm like, okay, maybe he's got the sauce. But he's got to show it.
The one thing that I found interesting that Masai mentioned was the comparability for the Michigan roster in the college game. He's a bigger team, and then Dallas also has a very large squad. When you got Gafford and Lively, and Cooper's really, really big for a 3, stretch 4. So being able to coach around X and O's, that style of players and that collection of talent, I think that'll bode well for him as well.
So to get into this a little bit further, let's go to SOT 21 because Masai Ujiri talked about Dusty May's coaching style and what he does bring to the table in that regard.
He'll continue to do it the way he does. He's already doing it, honestly, with us, even the way he's communicated with our players already. I think it's a unique skill that he has. He does it in a true, honest way of a coach, and I think that's going to be one of the big points is he communicates well, his style. No messages are mixed, and he's a ball coach and very, very holds these players accountable, and wants to make them better. And I think in a great way, and that makes the players feel comfortable, and all the players, every single player that's played for him says it.
Okay. I mean, listen, I like some of the things that they're having to say about him. Obviously, they're going to try and talk him up, but the thing that stuck out to me of all things was where he said no messages are mixed.
Is that a shot?
To be a clear community, I don't think so, but I think to highlight the fact that, listen, this guy understands how to communicate. As a coach, what is your job other than to communicate? And by no fault of any individual that might inadvertently send a mixed message, things can get confused. Things can get go back to when you were a little kid playing telephone and you couldn't pass the message along accurately because everybody had it just a little bit off and a little bit off and a little bit off. If you are, as a head basketball coach, as a head coach in any sport, if you can distill your message and deliver it concisely and in a way that is understood by the people you're talking to, that's like 80% of the ball game right there. Is that just, hey, everybody's on the same page, even if your message isn't
That's
good.
the starting point.
Like you may have a bad game plan, but at least everybody knows the game plan.
Yeah, let's make this clear. Head coaches are not just X's and O's guys. For the most part, it's actually the staff that's more of the X's and O's and drawing up certain plays. The head coach is the manager of the team.
It's like the philosophy.
You're managing the egos, you're managing personalities, you're managing a whole lot of stuff that has to do not just with what goes on the court, but off the court as well.
Yeah.
And being able to be an effective communicator and a leader and run it's running a ship. You're captaining the ship. And your team needs to buy in. And it's kind of why like the Cowboys culture sort of changed under Shoddy in some ways, where you got to set the tone and lead it. And May, from what I gather, and we'll obviously see it as they get into camps and preseason and all that, he just seems no nonsense. Like it's like it's black or white, right? It's very clear what he wants. And if you create that from day one with your program and have everybody fall in line, that's how you build a champion. I look at teams like the Thunder seem like they're built in a similar fashion. The Spurs are kind of built in a similar fashion that way. So it really requires the buy-in of the team, and having a young superstar fall in line. If Coop,
You need him to buy in.
yeah, if Coop is all in on May, and that becomes a perfect match, like Pop was with Duncan or whomever in history, they've got something. But that is the relationship that has to gel more than anything else.
I think that the big thing for him moving forward will be, in the college, you're dealing with young kids that are motivated by money, and like you go to the pros, and these are grown men that you're coaching now, and they're not 18, 19, 20-year-olds. So being able to
And everybody
hold them accountable.
And everybody likes to be coached differently.
Yeah.
And there's star players in the NBA who all like to be coached differently. Luka was a good example of he liked to be coached one way. Well, some others, like Cooper Flagg, likes to be coached hard. And so that might be why there's reason to believe Dusty May is a good fit with this organization. Because, again, it comes down to your head coach and your superstar need to be in lockstep.